Ratatouille, released in 2007 by Pixar Animation Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Pictures, brought together a remarkable ensemble of voice actors and filmmakers whose combined artistry elevated the film beyond a simple animated comedy. Directed by Brad Bird, a filmmaker already celebrated for his work on The Iron Giant and Pixar's The Incredibles, the movie reflects a carefully balanced blend of emotional storytelling, comedic timing, and visual sophistication. The voice cast, led by Patton Oswalt as Remy, forms the beating heart of the narrative, while a team of writers, animators, composers, and producers shaped the film's tone and legacy. Patton Oswalt, who voices Remy, was primarily known before Ratatouille for his stand-up comedy and television roles, including appearances on King of Queens and numerous comedy specials. Although he had participated in voice acting before, Ratatouille marked one of his most significant animated leading roles. Oswalt brought a unique sensitivity to Remy, blending neurotic enthusiasm with heartfelt vulnerability. His performance avoided caricature. Instead of playing the rat as a broad comic figure, he infused Remy with sincerity and longing. Oswalt's background in stand-up helped him navigate the rapid rhythms of dialogue, particularly in scenes where Remy debates internally between instinct and aspiration. After Ratatouille, Oswalt's career in voice acting expanded considerably, leading to prominent roles in other animated films and series. The success of the film demonstrated his range and solidified his place in animation. Lou Romano provided the voice for Alfredo Linguini, the awkward garbage boy turned culinary frontman. Romano was not primarily known as a voice actor before this role. He was an animator and production designer at Pixar. His casting was unconventional, but his natural, slightly nervous vocal tone suited Linguini perfectly. Romano's inexperience in professional voice acting contributed to the authenticity of the character's uncertainty and humility. Linguini's physical comedy, animated with exaggerated limbs and clumsy posture, was enhanced by Romano's hesitant delivery. His involvement in both the creative and performance sides of the film gave Linguini a grounded human presence. Ian Holm voiced Anton Ego, the formidable food critic whose review ultimately determines the restaurant's fate. Holm had a distinguished career in theater and film, including performances with the Royal Shakespeare Company and roles in major productions such as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. His classical training lent Ego a sharp precision and authority. Holm's voice conveyed icy disdain with subtle inflections, and later, profound emotional awakening during the tasting scene. His performance anchors one of the film's most memorable moments, when Ego is transported back to childhood by a simple dish. Holmes' gravitas elevated the character from a stereotype into a complex figure whose vulnerability mirrors Remy's own longing for recognition. Janine Garofalo voiced Colette Tattoo, the skilled chef who mentors Linguini. Garofalo, known for her sharp wit and alternative comedy background, brought a brisk, no-nonsense tone to Colette. Her delivery captured both frustration and quiet determination, reflecting Colette's struggle to succeed in a male-dominated kitchen. Although Garofalo had experience in film and television, Ratatouille introduced her to a broader family audience. Colette's character benefits from Garofalo's dry humor, which prevents her from becoming a predictable romantic lead. Instead, she feels capable and fiercely independent. Peter O'Toole was originally considered for Anton Ego, but scheduling conflicts led to Ian Holm's casting. Nonetheless, the creative team's focus on finding a voice with theatrical depth reveals how carefully the character was conceived. Other notable cast members include Brian Dennehy as Django, Remy's father. Dennehy's commanding yet warm presence grounded the Rat family dynamic. His experience in both stage and screen acting allowed him to balance stern pragmatism with paternal affection. Brad Garrett, known for his deep resonant voice from Everybody Loves Raymond, portrayed Gusteau. Although Gusteau appears primarily as a figment of Remy's imagination, Garrett's booming optimism and theatrical enthusiasm provided a contrast to Remy's self-doubt. The creative leadership of Brad Bird shaped every aspect of Ratatouille. Bird joined the project after Pixar had already begun development under Jan Pinkava. When Bird assumed control, he reworked significant portions of the script, refining the emotional core and clarifying Remy's motivation. Bird's storytelling philosophy emphasizes character-driven narratives and thematic resonance. In Ratatouille, he focused on the idea that greatness can emerge from unlikely places, a message that resonated through the film's structure and tone. Bird collaborated closely with producer Brad Lewis and Pixar's creative leadership, including John Lasseter, to maintain continuity with Pixar's tradition of heartfelt storytelling. The screenplay credits include Brad Bird and Jan Pinkava, along with contributions from Jim Capobianco. Their combined efforts shaped a story that balanced humor with philosophical reflection. Capobianco, who had worked on previous Pixar projects, helped refine the culinary authenticity of the narrative. The writing team worked extensively with chefs to ensure the kitchen sequences felt credible, adding texture and realism to the animated world. Michael Giacchino composed the score, crafting a soundtrack infused with French influences. Giacchino, who had previously worked with Pixar on The Incredibles, brought a sophisticated musical sensibility to Ratatouille. His use of accordion motifs, light jazz elements, and sweeping orchestration reinforced the Parisian setting without resorting to cliché. The music underscored Remy's emotional journey, shifting from playful to poignant as the narrative demanded. Giacchino's collaboration with Bird ensured that the score enhanced character development rather than overpowering it. The animation team at Pixar, known for technical innovation, faced the challenge of rendering food in a way that appeared both realistic and appetizing. Supervising animator Mark Walsh and the broader team studied culinary techniques and observed chefs at work. Their attention to detail elevated the sensory experience of the film. Lighting artists and texture specialists focused on capturing the sheen of sauces and the delicate steam rising from dishes, creating an immersive atmosphere. Producers Brad Lewis and John Lasseter supported the project's ambitious scope. Lewis oversaw production logistics, ensuring that the extensive research in France translated into authentic visual storytelling. Lasseter, as Pixar's chief creative officer at the time, provided overarching guidance, reinforcing the studio's commitment to emotional sincerity. Ratatouille influenced the careers of many involved. For Brad Bird, it confirmed his ability to handle diverse genres, from superhero action to intimate character studies. For Patton Oswalt, it expanded his artistic reputation beyond stand-up comedy. The film also strengthened Pixar's global standing as a studio capable of blending artistry with mainstream appeal. When Ratatouille premiered in 2007 under the banner of Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney Pictures, few anticipated how deeply a story about a cooking rat in Paris would embed itself into global pop culture. Yet over time, the film's influence expanded far beyond the boundaries of animated cinema. It shaped conversations about creativity, class, identity, and the meaning of artistic greatness. It influenced children's media, culinary trends, internet culture, and even theme park experiences. Ratatouille became not only a beloved family film but also a generational touchstone. One of the most immediate cultural impacts of Ratatouille was its effect on how children and families perceived food. Unlike many animated features that use food as background decoration or slapstick material, Ratatouille treated cuisine as art. The meticulous animation of textures, sauces, and ingredients elevated cooking into a creative act worthy of reverence. Children who watched the film often became curious about cooking, tasting new dishes, or even learning about French cuisine. Parents reported that the movie sparked dinner table conversations about flavor, experimentation, and the value of trying unfamiliar foods. The humble dish ratatouille itself, once relatively obscure to many young viewers outside France, became widely recognized. Restaurants and home cooks saw renewed interest in preparing the layered vegetable dish that gives the film its title. The character of Remy resonated strongly with younger audiences. His desire to pursue a passion that defies expectations mirrored the aspirations of many children growing up in environments where their dreams might seem unrealistic. The message that anyone can cook, articulated through Gusteau's philosophy, became a cultural phrase associated with encouragement and self-belief. While the line is simple, it entered everyday speech as a shorthand for the idea that talent can emerge from unlikely places. Educators and parents often referenced the film when encouraging creativity, reinforcing its generational significance as a story about overcoming prejudice and embracing individuality. Ratatouille also left a notable mark on internet culture. Years after its release, it experienced a viral resurgence through online communities. In 2020, during a period when many people turned to social media for connection and creative expression, users on TikTok collaborated to create an imagined musical adaptation of Ratatouille. This grassroots project, often referred to as Ratatouille the Musical, featured original songs, choreography concepts, and costume designs shared across the platform. The phenomenon eventually led to a streamed benefit performance that included established Broadway performers. This unexpected revival demonstrated the film's enduring relevance and its ability to inspire collective creativity across generations. The score composed by Michael Giacchino, particularly the song Le Festin performed by Camille, gained cultural recognition beyond the film itself. The gentle melody and reflective lyrics captured the bittersweet journey of ambition and longing. Although not structured as a traditional animated musical with multiple character-sung numbers, Ratatouille used music strategically to deepen emotional resonance. Le Festin became associated with nostalgia and aspiration, frequently appearing in montages, fan edits, and online tributes. The song's popularity contributed to the film's identity as something more intimate and mature than many animated features. Within children's media, Ratatouille influenced storytelling approaches that treated young audiences with respect. The film did not rely heavily on rapid-fire pop culture jokes or simplistic moral lessons. Instead, it presented layered characters and allowed moments of quiet reflection. This approach encouraged later animated projects to embrace emotional complexity and thematic depth. The success of Ratatouille reinforced Pixar's reputation for producing films that appeal equally to children and adults, further shaping expectations for family entertainment. Theme park adaptations further cemented the film's place in cultural consciousness. At Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris, the attraction Ratatouille the Adventure invites guests into a trackless ride experience that shrinks them to the size of a rat navigating Gusteau's kitchen. This immersive environment extends the film's world into physical space, allowing visitors to experience the sensory thrill of scurrying under counters and avoiding oversized kitchen hazards. The ride's expansion to Epcot at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida introduced the story to new audiences, blending culinary imagination with technological innovation. These attractions demonstrate how Ratatouille evolved from a standalone film into a living part of global entertainment infrastructure. The film also influenced discussions about representation and social mobility. Remy's struggle against prejudice parallels broader conversations about inclusion and opportunity. Although framed through the whimsical lens of a rat aspiring to be a chef, the story speaks to experiences of individuals who feel marginalized or underestimated. The kitchen hierarchy depicted in the film reflects real-world power dynamics, and Colette's commentary on gender discrimination highlights ongoing debates about equality in professional spaces. While Ratatouille does not present itself as overt social commentary, its themes resonate with contemporary values emphasizing diversity of talent and the dismantling of rigid gatekeeping. Merchandise waves followed the film's release, though in a more understated manner compared to some animated blockbusters. Plush toys of Remy and Emile, kitchen-themed playsets, and branded cookware allowed families to engage with the story beyond the screen. Unlike franchises built primarily on action figures, Ratatouille's merchandise often centered on culinary imagination. Children could pretend to cook alongside Remy, reinforcing the film's core theme of creative participation. Internationally, Ratatouille strengthened Pixar's global appeal. Its Parisian setting introduced young viewers to a stylized yet affectionate portrayal of France. The careful depiction of architecture, markets, and culinary traditions fostered curiosity about other cultures. French audiences responded with a mixture of pride and amusement, noting both the authenticity and the stylized romanticism of the portrayal. The film's respectful treatment of French gastronomy contributed to its positive reception abroad. For millennials who encountered Ratatouille in childhood, the film now occupies a nostalgic space similar to earlier animated classics. For younger viewers discovering it through streaming platforms, it feels timeless rather than dated. Its themes of ambition and belonging remain relevant in a rapidly changing world where creative expression often intersects with digital platforms and global audiences. Ratatouille's cultural footprint extends into educational settings, culinary schools, and creative workshops where instructors use clips to illustrate storytelling, character development, and artistic perseverance. It has become shorthand for the belief that passion can transcend origin. In a landscape crowded with animated spectacles, Ratatouille distinguished itself through subtlety and sincerity. The making of Ratatouille at Pixar Animation Studios was marked by creative upheaval, technological experimentation, and an unusual level of culinary immersion. What appears on screen as a seamless and elegant story was, behind the scenes, the result of years of rewrites, leadership changes, and intense collaboration between artists, animators, chefs, and voice performers. The production journey reflects Pixar's culture of constant refinement, where stories are reshaped repeatedly until emotional clarity emerges. Development of Ratatouille began under director Jan Pinkava, who conceived the original idea of a rat with refined culinary taste living in Paris. Early versions of the story were significantly different from the final film. In some drafts, Remy's relationship with Linguini was more confrontational, and the tone leaned further into broad comedy. When Brad Bird joined the project as director, the narrative underwent major restructuring. Bird streamlined the plot, deepened the emotional stakes, and clarified Remy's internal conflict between family loyalty and artistic ambition. This shift required rewriting large portions of the script and reboarding entire sequences, a process that demanded flexibility from the animation team. Storyboarding played a central role in shaping the film's rhythm. Pixar's storyboard artists created thousands of panels to test comedic timing and emotional beats. Sequences were screened internally in rough animatic form, allowing the team to evaluate pacing and clarity. Entire scenes were removed or reimagined when they failed to support the central theme. For example, earlier drafts reportedly included more elaborate subplots involving rival chefs and external antagonists. These were pared down to focus on the intimate dynamic between Remy, Linguini, and Anton Ego. This decision sharpened the film's emotional core. The voice recording process also evolved during production. Patton Oswalt recorded extensive dialogue sessions as Remy, often improvising small variations in delivery. Pixar's approach to voice acting typically involves recording actors individually rather than together, allowing animators to tailor facial expressions and gestures precisely to vocal nuances. Oswalt's energetic rhythms influenced Remy's quick movements and expressive whisker twitches. Animators studied his cadence carefully, ensuring that Remy's physicality matched the emotional shifts in his voice. Romano's performance as Linguini was particularly organic. Because he was not a seasoned voice actor, his line readings retained a natural awkwardness that suited the character. Animators exaggerated Linguini's gangly posture and flailing limbs, using physical comedy to complement Romano's hesitant speech patterns. The famous scenes in which Remy pulls Linguini's hair to control his movements required precise synchronization between dialogue and animation. These sequences demanded extensive testing to ensure that the illusion felt believable within the film's internal logic. One of the most significant behind-the-scenes collaborations involved culinary consultants. Pixar invited renowned chef Thomas Keller to advise on kitchen authenticity. Animators observed professional kitchens, studied knife techniques, and learned how chefs move through tight spaces without colliding. This research informed not only the animation of cooking sequences but also the choreography of the kitchen staff. Movements were designed to reflect real culinary discipline rather than exaggerated cartoon chaos. Even small details, such as how steam rises from a sauce or how vegetables are sliced, were animated with careful attention. Technologically, Ratatouille pushed Pixar's rendering capabilities. Food had always posed a challenge in animation because it can easily appear artificial or unappetizing. The team developed new shading techniques to capture translucency, moisture, and texture. They experimented with subsurface scattering to give vegetables and sauces a realistic glow under kitchen lighting. The final Ratatouille dish served to Anton Ego required particular care. Animators layered thinly sliced vegetables with precise color gradations, ensuring that the dish looked both rustic and refined. Lighting and environmental design presented additional hurdles. Paris is known for its warm evening glow and intricate architecture. Pixar artists traveled to France to sketch rooftops, markets, and alleyways. They captured reference photographs at different times of day to replicate authentic light conditions. Translating these observations into animation required balancing stylization with realism. The cityscape was simplified to maintain visual clarity, yet detailed enough to evoke romantic charm. Hair simulation also posed technical challenges, particularly in scenes involving Remy and the other rats. Thousands of individual strands had to move naturally as characters scurried across surfaces. Pixar's technical directors refined fur rendering systems to handle complex interactions between fur and water, especially during the dramatic sewer flood sequence. That scene alone required intricate particle simulations to depict rushing water carrying debris and rats through underground tunnels. Music integration occurred alongside animation development. Composer Michael Giacchino collaborated closely with Brad Bird to ensure that musical cues aligned with visual storytelling. Le Festin was strategically placed over montage sequences that required fluid editing. The team adjusted scene timing to accommodate musical phrasing, demonstrating how animation and score evolved together. This iterative process allowed emotional crescendos to land precisely when characters experienced revelation or transformation. Deleted concepts reveal how the story narrowed its focus over time. Early ideas included more extensive exploration of rat society and possibly a romantic subplot among the rats. These elements were reduced to prevent distraction from Remy's culinary ambition. Similarly, Anton Ego's character underwent refinement. Earlier versions portrayed him as more overtly villainous, but Brad Bird advocated for a more nuanced portrayal. The final tasting scene, where Ego is transported to childhood through flavor, emerged after several revisions aimed at deepening thematic resonance. Pixar's internal brain trust meetings played a critical role in these revisions. During these sessions, fellow directors and storytellers offered candid feedback on rough cuts. This culture of constructive critique often led to bold changes. Rather than protecting initial ideas, the team prioritized narrative clarity and emotional impact. The willingness to overhaul significant portions of the film demonstrates the collaborative ethos behind Ratatouille. The production schedule was demanding, especially after the directorial transition. Animators worked to meet deadlines while implementing story adjustments. Despite the pressure, the environment encouraged experimentation. Artists tested different camera angles to mimic live-action cinematography, creating dynamic tracking shots through kitchen spaces. The goal was to make viewers feel immersed in a bustling restaurant environment rather than watching a static cartoon backdrop. By the time Ratatouille reached completion, it represented a fusion of artistry and technical innovation. Behind the polished surface lay years of revision, research, and teamwork. Ratatouille unfolds with a narrative structure that appears simple on the surface yet reveals remarkable sophistication in its pacing, character arcs, and emotional layering. Set in Paris and centered on an unlikely partnership between a rat and a human, the film balances whimsical comedy with grounded emotional stakes. Its storytelling appeals to children through physical humor and adventure, while offering adults deeper reflections on ambition, criticism, and artistic integrity. The structure follows a classical progression, yet it subtly subverts expectations by focusing less on external villains and more on internal conflict and transformation. The film opens with Remy's introduction, establishing his unique identity within his rat colony. From the beginning, the narrative defines Remy as different. While the other rats prioritize survival and scavenging, Remy is preoccupied with taste, aroma, and the artistry of cooking. This opening sequence serves as exposition, but it is delivered dynamically. Rather than lengthy explanation, the audience learns about Remy's gift through action as he combines ingredients and critiques flavors. The tone is playful, yet it quickly establishes the central theme, the tension between instinct and aspiration. Children are drawn in by the comedic depiction of rats navigating a human world, while adults recognize the metaphor for creative longing. The first major turning point occurs during the chaotic evacuation of the colony after the elderly woman discovers them. The frantic escape through the countryside and into the sewers functions as both spectacle and separation. Remy becomes isolated from his family, a classic narrative device that forces the protagonist into independence. This moment shifts the story from ensemble family comedy to individual journey. Remy's arrival in Paris and his discovery of Gusteau's restaurant mark the transition into the film's central setting. The appearance of Gusteau as an imagined mentor figure introduces a subtle layer of magical realism. Whether interpreted as imagination or inspiration, Gusteau becomes the embodiment of Remy's ideals. The introduction of Linguini provides the human counterpart necessary for the story's central partnership. Linguini's awkwardness and insecurity mirror Remy's hidden talent. Their first interaction in the kitchen establishes the comedic premise: a rat secretly controlling a human chef. The hair-pulling mechanism, which allows Remy to guide Linguini's movements, is integrated seamlessly into the narrative. It becomes both a visual gag and a structural device that drives plot progression. Each successful dish increases tension as the risk of discovery grows. The film's rising action is marked by escalating complications. Linguini's sudden success attracts attention from Chef Skinner, who suspects deception. This subplot introduces external pressure while maintaining the focus on Remy's internal struggle. The kitchen environment becomes a stage for repeated near-discoveries, creating suspense through close calls and narrow escapes. Children experience the thrill of secrecy and physical comedy, while adults appreciate the workplace satire embedded in the restaurant hierarchy. Midway through the film, the revelation that Linguini is Gusteau's son shifts the stakes. This plot twist complicates the partnership, introducing questions of ownership and recognition. Linguini gains legal control of the restaurant, altering the power dynamic between him and Remy. The narrative carefully builds tension as Remy's contributions remain hidden while Linguini receives public praise. This imbalance culminates in emotional conflict. Remy's frustration leads him to betray trust momentarily by revealing the kitchen's food storage to his colony. This act represents a low point in the protagonist's journey, aligning with classical narrative structure where the hero confronts failure. Anton Ego's looming presence provides narrative momentum toward the climax. Introduced earlier as a severe critic capable of destroying reputations, Ego embodies the fear of judgment that haunts creative endeavors. His decision to review the restaurant raises stakes dramatically. The film builds anticipation not through physical danger but through emotional vulnerability. Can Remy prove that greatness can come from anywhere? This question underlies the final act. The climactic sequence unfolds in layered fashion. Remy is exposed, the kitchen staff resigns in shock, and Linguini faces humiliation. This apparent collapse of partnership represents the narrative's darkest moment. However, Colette's return and the rat's collective effort to cook symbolize reconciliation and unity. The decision to prepare ratatouille itself, a humble peasant dish, underscores thematic resolution. Rather than impressing Ego with elaborate complexity, Remy chooses authenticity. This choice aligns structure with message, reinforcing that true artistry stems from sincerity. The tasting scene with Anton Ego stands as the emotional apex. When Ego takes a bite and is transported back to childhood, the narrative pauses for reflection. This flashback sequence functions as catharsis, revealing that beneath Ego's stern exterior lies nostalgia and vulnerability. The pacing slows deliberately, allowing the audience to absorb the transformation. Children perceive the magical memory moment, while adults recognize the commentary on criticism and personal bias. The resolution follows swiftly yet thoughtfully. Ego's written review articulates the film's thesis that greatness can emerge from unlikely sources. Although the restaurant ultimately loses its official status due to health regulations, the characters find fulfillment in opening a new bistro. This denouement avoids conventional triumph in favor of quiet satisfaction. Success is redefined not as fame but as creative freedom and honest collaboration. Throughout its structure, Ratatouille maintains balance between humor and introspection. Comedic beats, such as kitchen mishaps and rat antics, are spaced carefully between dramatic developments. Dialogue scenes are interwoven with physical sequences to maintain momentum. The film does not rely on musical numbers to advance plot. instead allowing score and montage to support emotional transitions. For children, the narrative reads as an adventure about secrecy, teamwork, and courage. For adults, it becomes a meditation on ambition, authenticity, and the courage to defy expectation. This pacing avoids rushed spectacle, instead building steadily toward emotional resonance. By aligning structure with theme and allowing characters to evolve through genuine conflict, Ratatouille achieves narrative depth rarely found in animated comedies. The story concludes not with grand celebration but with the quiet image of a small restaurant thriving under unconventional leadership. This understated ending reinforces the film's belief that true success lies in passion and collaboration. The narrative journey, from sewer escape to culinary triumph, unfolds with clarity and emotional intelligence, ensuring that Ratatouille remains both accessible and profound across generations. Ratatouille presents itself as a charming animated story about a rat who dreams of becoming a chef, yet beneath its playful exterior lies a rich exploration of identity, ambition, belonging, and artistic courage. The film's emotional depth emerges not from grand spectacle but from intimate conflicts between instinct and aspiration, family and individuality, fear and self-expression. Through Remy's journey, the story examines what it means to embrace one's true nature in a world that insists on limitations. Its moral messages are subtle, woven into character interactions and narrative choices, rather than delivered as overt lessons. At the heart of Ratatouille lies the theme of identity. Remy is born into a colony that values survival above all else. For his family, food is sustenance scavenged from scraps. For Remy, food is art. This difference isolates him from those he loves. His heightened sense of taste and smell, initially a practical skill to detect poison, becomes a metaphor for sensitivity and creative awareness. Remy's internal conflict centers on whether to suppress his uniqueness to belong or risk rejection in pursuit of authenticity. This struggle mirrors the experience of many individuals who feel out of place within their communities. The film suggests that true fulfillment requires embracing one's gifts, even when they defy expectations. Family bonds play a crucial role in shaping this conflict. Django, Remy's father, represents pragmatic caution. He fears humans and prioritizes safety. His love for Remy is genuine, yet it is filtered through concern and skepticism. Their disagreements reflect generational tension between tradition and innovation. Django cannot understand why Remy would risk danger for something as abstract as culinary artistry. Remy, in turn, struggles to articulate why his passion matters. The film does not vilify either perspective. Instead, it portrays the complexity of familial relationships where love coexists with misunderstanding. By the end, Django witnesses Remy's dedication and begins to accept that his son's difference is not weakness but strength. Another central theme is the democratization of talent. Gusteau's motto, "Anyone can cook," serves as both inspiration and philosophical statement. However, the film carefully clarifies that this phrase does not imply that everyone will become a great chef. Rather, it asserts that greatness can emerge from unexpected places. This distinction is articulated most clearly in Anton Ego's final review, where he acknowledges that true artistry cannot be confined to established hierarchies. The message challenges elitism and gatekeeping. Remy, as a rat, embodies the ultimate outsider. His success disrupts rigid systems that equate status with merit. The film also explores the tension between collaboration and individual recognition. Remy's partnership with Linguini is mutually beneficial yet fraught with imbalance. Linguini becomes the public face of their culinary success, receiving praise and authority. Remy remains hidden, literally beneath the chef's hat. This dynamic raises questions about ownership and credit. When Linguini begins to enjoy fame without acknowledging Remy's contribution, resentment grows. The story suggests that authentic partnership requires honesty and mutual respect. Their eventual reconciliation underscores the importance of trust and transparency in creative collaboration. Courage is another recurring theme. Remy's journey demands not physical bravery alone but emotional vulnerability. He must risk ridicule, exposure, and failure. His decision to cook for Anton Ego after being revealed demonstrates resilience. Instead of retreating into bitterness, he chooses to express himself sincerely. This act of courage transforms not only his own fate but also Ego's perspective. The film frames courage as persistence in the face of doubt rather than dramatic heroism. Self-acceptance extends beyond Remy. Anton Ego's transformation reveals another layer of the theme. Initially defined by harsh criticism and intellectual superiority, Ego appears emotionally detached. His tasting of Ratatouille triggers a childhood memory, reminding him of vulnerability and simplicity. This moment suggests that even the most guarded individuals carry hidden longing. Ego's willingness to admit change reflects growth. He learns that criticism should not exist solely to judge but to recognize genuine passion. His arc reinforces the idea that openness and humility are essential to meaningful evaluation. Freedom and destiny intertwine throughout the narrative. Remy rejects the deterministic belief that rats must remain scavengers. He refuses to accept that identity is fixed by birth. Yet the film avoids suggesting that destiny is entirely self-constructed. Remy's abilities are innate, but fulfillment requires choice and action. The balance between inherent talent and deliberate effort underscores the complexity of personal growth. Dreams alone are insufficient without discipline and collaboration. Love and connection subtly underpin the story. Remy's affection for cooking is mirrored by his affection for his family and for linguini. Colette's presence adds another dimension, representing respect earned through competence. Her initial skepticism toward linguini evolves into admiration as she recognizes sincerity. These relationships emphasize that personal ambition need not exclude intimacy. Instead, the film suggests that supportive bonds strengthen individual pursuit. The theme of sacrifice emerges in small yet meaningful gestures. Linguini risks embarrassment by revealing Remy's existence to Colette. Colette returns to the kitchen despite fear and disbelief. The rats join forces to prepare the final meal, risking exposure to help Remy succeed. These acts demonstrate that achievement is rarely solitary. Success grows from collective effort and willingness to place trust above fear. Ratatouille balances fantasy with grounded emotional truth. While the premise of a rat controlling a chef is whimsical, the emotional stakes are authentic. Children may perceive the film as an encouraging tale about following dreams. Adults may interpret it as commentary on artistic integrity and social mobility. The layered themes allow the story to function on multiple levels simultaneously. Ultimately, the moral message of Ratatouille is neither simplistic nor preachy. It does not promise universal acclaim or easy victory. Remy's triumph comes with compromise. The restaurant loses its former status, and the characters must rebuild in a smaller space. Yet the ending affirms that fulfillment arises from living authentically and creating with sincerity. Greatness is defined not by recognition alone but by the courage to express one's unique voice. Through its exploration of identity, family, courage, and collaboration, Ratatouille offers a timeless reflection on what it means to pursue passion in the face of doubt. Its lessons resonate quietly yet powerfully, reminding audiences that true artistry, like the simplest dish prepared with care, has the power to nourish the soul. Ratatouille stands as one of Pixar Animation Studios' most visually refined achievements, blending stylized character design with remarkable environmental realism. Released by Walt Disney Pictures in 2007, the film demonstrates how animation can communicate emotion, atmosphere, and theme through purely visual means. Beyond dialogue and narrative, Ratatouille tells much of its story through color, light, texture, movement, and framing. Every detail, from the shimmer of sauce to the warm glow of Paris at dusk, reinforces the film's emotional tone and thematic depth. The overall art direction embraces a romanticized yet grounded vision of Paris. Rather than creating a strictly photorealistic recreation, the animators chose to stylize architecture in ways that enhanced clarity and mood. Rooftops are slightly softened, chimneys rounded, and streets gently curved to evoke warmth and charm. The skyline, frequently bathed in golden sunset hues, conveys a sense of possibility. This visual warmth contrasts with the darker, colder tones used in early sewer sequences, where Remy's isolation is emphasized through shadow and muted palettes. Color plays a central storytelling role. The rat colony is initially depicted in earthy browns and grays, reinforcing themes of survival and concealment. When Remy first gazes upon Paris from above, the palette shifts dramatically. Blues and golds dominate the skyline, signaling a new chapter filled with aspiration. Inside Gusteau's kitchen, stainless steel surfaces reflect bright whites and cool tones, suggesting professionalism and precision. Yet when cooking sequences intensify, bursts of vibrant reds, oranges, and greens emerge from fresh ingredients. These colors symbolize creativity and passion, visually echoing Remy's emotional engagement with food. Lighting design contributes significantly to the film's atmosphere. The animators at Pixar Animation Studios invested considerable effort in simulating realistic light interactions, especially in kitchen scenes where reflective metal surfaces pose technical challenges. The glow of overhead lamps casts soft highlights on simmering sauces and polished countertops. Candlelit dining areas create intimate pools of warmth, drawing attention to character expressions during key conversations. The famous scene in which Anton Ego tastes the ratatouille is lit with deliberate contrast. As the fork approaches his mouth, the room feels stark and imposing. When the childhood memory floods back, the lighting softens into gentle, nostalgic warmth. This visual shift underscores emotional transformation without relying on excessive dialogue. Character design reflects personality and thematic purpose. Remy's proportions are carefully balanced between realism and expressiveness. His fur is textured and naturalistic, yet his eyes are slightly enlarged to allow nuanced emotional communication. His whiskers twitch subtly during moments of curiosity or anxiety, adding layers of nonverbal storytelling. Linguini, by contrast, is tall and lanky, with exaggerated limbs that emphasize awkwardness. His physical imbalance mirrors his internal insecurity. Colette's angular features and focused gaze convey discipline and competence, while Anton Ego's elongated silhouette and sharp facial structure evoke severity and detachment. Movement is another essential storytelling tool. Remy's motion differs distinctly from that of the human characters. He scurries with quick, precise gestures, his body low to the ground, conveying agility and alertness. When he cooks, however, his movements become fluid and almost balletic. This shift signals his comfort and mastery within the culinary space. Linguini's movement initially appears chaotic, with flailing arms and uncertain steps. As he gains confidence through partnership with Remy, his posture gradually stabilizes. This subtle evolution reflects character growth through physical animation rather than explicit explanation. Environmental design reinforces the film's immersive quality. The kitchen of Gusteau's restaurant is meticulously detailed, filled with hanging pots, cutting boards, ovens, and shelves. The layout is designed to feel functional rather than decorative. Animators studied real restaurant kitchens to understand workflow and spatial relationships. The result is a believable environment where action unfolds organically. Narrow corridors create tension during chase sequences, while open dining areas allow moments of reflection. Food itself becomes a central visual element. Rendering dishes convincingly required technological innovation within Pixar Animation Studios. The team developed advanced shading techniques to capture translucency, moisture, and texture. Vegetables appear layered and tender, sauces glisten under light, and steam rises realistically from hot plates. These sensory details enhance audience engagement, making animated cuisine appear almost tangible. The visual appeal of the ratatouille dish served to Anton Ego demonstrates how careful composition can communicate emotional resonance. Thinly sliced vegetables arranged in concentric patterns symbolize harmony and simplicity. Camera work in Ratatouille often mimics live-action cinematography. Tracking shots follow Remy as he navigates bustling kitchens, creating a sense of urgency. Low-angle perspectives from Remy's viewpoint emphasize scale, making countertops and utensils appear monumental. Overhead shots of Paris establish location and mood. The animators employed depth of field effects to draw focus to specific objects, guiding the viewer's attention as effectively as a live-action lens. Visual symbolism is woven throughout the film. The recurring image of Remy standing on elevated surfaces, such as rooftops or kitchen counters, represents aspiration and perspective. Windows frame moments of longing, particularly when Remy watches humans enjoy meals he helped create. Mirrors and reflections occasionally appear, hinting at dual identity and hidden contribution. Even the chef hats themselves become symbolic, concealing Remy while enabling his talent to flourish. Technological breakthroughs supported these artistic choices. First simulation systems were refined to handle complex interactions with water and light, especially during the dramatic sewer flood. Particle effects created convincing splashes and debris, enhancing realism without sacrificing stylization. The balance between technical precision and artistic expression defines the film's visual identity. Ratatouille's animation style achieves harmony between fantasy and authenticity. While the premise of a cooking rat is whimsical, the world surrounding him feels tangible and lived in. This contrast deepens emotional impact. Viewers accept the fantastical element because every other detail appears thoughtfully constructed. The visual storytelling complements the narrative's themes of aspiration and transformation, proving that animation can convey nuance equal to live-action cinema. Through deliberate color choices, expressive character design, intricate environmental detail, and innovative technology, Ratatouille transforms its animated frame into a canvas of emotion and atmosphere. Its visual language speaks as eloquently as its dialogue, guiding audiences through a journey where artistry is expressed not only in cooking, but in every animated brushstroke. The musical landscape of Ratatouille plays a subtle yet essential role in shaping its emotional tone and narrative rhythm. Unlike many animated films that rely heavily on character-driven musical numbers, Ratatouille adopts a more restrained and atmospheric approach. The score, composed by Michael Giacchino, blends orchestral richness with French musical influences, creating a sonic identity that feels both playful and sophisticated. Rather than interrupting the story with large ensemble songs, the music flows beneath the narrative, enhancing character development and deepening emotional resonance. Michael Giacchino had previously collaborated with Pixar Animation Studios on The Incredibles, and his partnership with director Brad Bird continued with Ratatouille. Giacchino approached the project with an understanding that the music needed to evoke Paris without becoming cliché. He incorporated accordion melodies, light jazz textures, and waltz-inspired rhythms to establish a sense of place. However, these elements are woven carefully into a broader orchestral framework, preventing the score from feeling stereotypical. The music reflects Remy's personality, alternating between whimsical curiosity and heartfelt longing. One of the most recognizable musical elements in the film is the song Le Festin, performed by French singer Camille. The song appears during montage sequences and over the end credits, encapsulating the spirit of aspiration that defines Remy's journey. Its gentle melody and poetic lyrics speak of hunger not merely for food, but for fulfillment and belonging. Le Festin does not function as a traditional character solo. Instead, it operates as an emotional bridge between scenes. The placement of the song allows viewers to reflect on Remy's dreams while watching his progress unfold visually. Over time, Le Festin became closely associated with the film's identity, often evoking nostalgia among audiences who grew up with Ratatouille. The instrumental score serves multiple narrative purposes. In scenes depicting Remy's sensory experiences, the music becomes almost impressionistic. When he tastes different ingredients and imagines colorful bursts of flavor, Giacchino uses playful musical flourishes to mirror the animated visual effects. Notes dance lightly, echoing Remy's excitement as he combines cheese and strawberries or experiments with spices. This synchronization between sound and animation reinforces the idea that cooking is an art form filled with harmony and rhythm. During moments of tension, the music shifts toward sharper, faster motifs. Chase sequences in the kitchen are accompanied by energetic strings and percussion, heightening urgency without overwhelming the comedic tone. The balance between excitement and humor is carefully calibrated. The music underscores physical comedy, accentuating slips, near misses, and frantic escapes, yet it never descends into chaotic noise. This restraint preserves the film's elegance. Anton Ego's musical theme reflects his austere personality. When he enters a scene, lower strings and deliberate pacing signal seriousness and authority. His presence alters the sonic atmosphere, reminding viewers of the stakes associated with his critique. However, in the pivotal tasting scene, the music transforms. As Ego takes a bite of ratatouille and is transported to childhood memory, the score softens into a tender, almost lullaby-like melody. This shift marks one of the film's most profound emotional transitions. The sound does not dictate sentiment. Rather, it gently guides the audience into empathy, mirroring Ego's internal awakening. Sound design complements the musical score by grounding the animated world in sensory realism. Kitchen environments are filled with subtle audio textures. Knives tapping against cutting boards, oil sizzling in pans, plates clinking, and footsteps echoing on tile floors. These details create immersion, making the bustling restaurant feel alive. The careful layering of sound effects ensures that even small gestures carry weight. When Remy chops vegetables with swift precision, the crisp slicing sounds emphasize his skill. When steam rises from a dish, the faint hiss enhances tactile authenticity. The contrast between rat and human perspectives is also expressed through sound. From Remy's vantage point, the world often seems amplified. Footsteps thud heavily, voices echo above him, and kitchen appliances rumble with intensity. This auditory scaling reinforces the physical disparity between characters. At times, the soundtrack momentarily isolates Remy's breathing or heartbeat, drawing attention to his emotional state. These subtle shifts in audio perspective deepen audience connection without requiring explicit exposition. Silence, too, plays a meaningful role. In several key scenes, music recedes entirely, allowing dialogue or quiet reflection to take center stage. The absence of score during certain confrontations underscores vulnerability. By withholding musical cues, the film invites viewers to focus on character expressions and subtle gestures. This strategic use of silence demonstrates confidence in storytelling, trusting the audience to engage emotionally without constant auditory reinforcement. The end credits reprise musical themes introduced earlier, creating a sense of cohesion. The return of Le Festin reinforces the narrative arc, leaving audiences with lingering warmth. Over the years, the song and score have continued to resonate, often appearing in playlists, tribute videos, and nostalgic compilations. The music's understated elegance contributes to the film's timeless quality, distinguishing it from louder, more overtly theatrical animated features. Ratatouille's approach to music reflects its broader storytelling philosophy. Rather than relying on spectacle, it favors nuance and atmosphere. The score enhances character growth and emotional shifts, while sound design grounds fantasy in tangible detail. Together, these elements form an auditory tapestry that supports the film's themes of creativity and authenticity. Through Michael Giacchino's composition and meticulous sound design, Ratatouille transforms cooking into symphony. Each chop, simmer, and stir becomes part of a larger musical narrative. The result is a film where sound does not merely accompany image but interacts with it, guiding viewers through moments of tension, joy, and revelation. In this delicate balance of melody and realism, Ratatouille achieves a sonic identity as refined and memorable as its visual artistry. When Ratatouille was released in 2007 by Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney Pictures, it entered a cinematic landscape already shaped by the studio's reputation for emotionally intelligent storytelling. Expectations were high, particularly following the success of previous Pixar films. Despite the seemingly unconventional premise of a rat pursuing culinary greatness in Paris, the film was met with widespread acclaim from critics and audiences alike. Its reception reflected not only admiration for technical achievement but also appreciation for its mature themes and narrative restraint. Critics praised Ratatouille for its sophistication. Many noted that the film avoided the frenetic pacing and pop culture heavy humor common in animated features of the era. Instead, it embraced deliberate storytelling and thematic nuance. Reviewers highlighted Brad Bird's direction, commending his ability to balance whimsy with emotional depth. The portrayal of Anton Ego was often singled out as one of the most compelling animated characters in contemporary cinema. His transformation during the tasting scene resonated strongly with adult viewers, who interpreted it as commentary on criticism and artistic vulnerability. The animation itself received significant recognition. Commentators observed the remarkable realism of food textures, lighting, and environmental detail. The rendering of Parisian architecture and bustling kitchen interiors was described as immersive and visually rich. Audiences responded enthusiastically to the sensory quality of cooking sequences. Many viewers remarked that the film made animated dishes appear appetizing, a rare accomplishment in digital animation. This technical excellence reinforced Pixar's reputation as a leader in computer-generated filmmaking. At the box office, Ratatouille performed strongly both domestically and internationally. While it did not initially break records to the same degree as some of Pixar's other releases, it achieved substantial global earnings and demonstrated steady longevity in theaters. Its appeal extended across age groups, with families returning for repeat viewings. International markets responded particularly well, especially in Europe, where the Parisian setting resonated culturally. Awards recognition further cemented the film's success. Ratatouille won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, affirming its critical standing within the industry. It also received nominations in categories recognizing its screenplay, score, and sound editing. These accolades underscored the film's achievement not only as family entertainment but as a work of cinematic artistry. Michael Giacchino's score was widely celebrated for its elegance and thematic coherence. Parents and educators often expressed appreciation for the film's respectful approach to young audiences. Rather than relying solely on slapstick humor, Ratatouille presented layered themes about ambition and authenticity. Adults found themselves emotionally engaged, while children were captivated by the adventure and comedic elements. This cross-generational appeal contributed to its enduring popularity. Many families described the film as one that could be enjoyed repeatedly without losing emotional impact. However, not all responses were uniformly enthusiastic. Some critics argued that the pacing felt slower compared to other animated features aimed at children. They suggested that younger viewers accustomed to rapid visual stimulation might find certain scenes contemplative. Others debated the plausibility of the central premise, questioning whether audiences could fully suspend disbelief regarding a rat secretly running a professional kitchen. Yet even among skeptical voices, there was acknowledgement of the film's ambition and craftsmanship. Discussions also emerged around representation and realism. Some culinary professionals commented on the romanticized portrayal of French gastronomy, noting that real restaurant environments are often harsher and less whimsical. Nevertheless, many chefs embraced the film, appreciating its celebration of culinary artistry. The involvement of culinary consultants contributed to a portrayal that felt authentic enough to satisfy many within the industry. Comparisons to earlier Pixar films were inevitable. Some commentators initially ranked Ratatouille slightly below emotional landmarks such as Finding Nemo or Toy Story. Over time, however, reassessments elevated its standing. Retrospective reviews often describe Ratatouille as one of Pixar's most mature works, particularly for its exploration of criticism and creative courage. Its reputation has grown steadily, with many viewers recognizing its subtle power upon revisiting it as adults. Children's responses tended to focus on Remy's perseverance and the humor of the rat colony. The physical comedy of kitchen mishaps and chase sequences provided accessible entertainment. Yet even younger audiences often connected with Remy's desire to pursue something unique. Educators reported using the film as a starting point for discussions about following dreams and embracing individuality. The film's critical reception also influenced broader perceptions of animated storytelling. Ratatouille demonstrated that animated films could tackle themes typically associated with live-action drama. Its measured tone and character-driven focus challenged assumptions that children's media must prioritize spectacle above introspection. This contribution to the evolution of animation discourse forms part of its lasting significance. Over the years, Ratatouille has continued to receive positive reassessment. Streaming availability introduced it to new generations, and online communities have expressed growing appreciation for its artistry. Discussions on social media frequently highlight Anton Ego's monologue, as one of the most profound statements about creativity in animated cinema. This sustained engagement reflects the film's ability to resonate beyond its initial release window. In summary, Ratatouille's reception combined commercial success, critical acclaim, and gradual elevation to classic status. While minor criticisms addressed pacing or plausibility, the overwhelming response celebrated its narrative depth, technical innovation, and emotional intelligence. Awards recognition affirmed its excellence, and audience affection ensured its longevity. Through thoughtful storytelling and refined animation, Ratatouille secured its place not only as a beloved family film but as a respected work within the broader landscape of contemporary cinema. Ratatouille occupies a unique place within the history of Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney Pictures. Unlike some animated releases that were immediately positioned as franchise foundations, Ratatouille began as a relatively self-contained story. Yet over time, its influence expanded through theme park attractions, merchandise, short films, and cultural revivals. While it has not produced a traditional theatrical sequel, its legacy has grown steadily, proving that franchise impact does not always depend on serialized storytelling. Within Pixar's broader filmography, Ratatouille is often regarded as one of the studio's most artistically mature projects. Its emphasis on culinary artistry and nuanced character development set it apart from more action-driven animated features. This distinction contributed to its long-term reputation. Rather than relying on multiple sequels, the film built legacy through sustained admiration and cultural rediscovery. Critics and audiences frequently revisit it in discussions of Pixar's strongest works, reinforcing its place in animation history. One of the earliest expansions of the Ratatouille world came in the form of the short film Your Friend the Rat. Released as a bonus feature, this educational and humorous short explores the historical relationship between humans and rats. Presented in a playful documentary style, it allowed Remy and Emile to interact with real-world facts in an imaginative format. Although brief, the short demonstrated Pixar's willingness to extend the universe in creative ways without altering the core narrative. Theme park adaptations significantly broadened Ratatouille's presence beyond cinema. In 2014, Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris introduced Ratatouille the Adventure, a trackless dark ride that immerses guests in a scaled-down version of Gusteau's kitchen. Visitors experience the environment from Remy's perspective, navigating oversized utensils, countertops, and dining areas. The attraction blends practical sets with 3D projection technology, creating an interactive illusion of movement and scale. Its success led to the expansion of the ride concept to Epcot at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. This addition reinforced Ratatouille's appeal to international audiences and solidified its identity within Disney's global park experiences. Merchandise associated with Ratatouille has maintained a steady presence rather than explosive waves. Plush figures of Remy, Emile, and other characters continue to appear in Disney stores and park shops. Kitchen-themed toys, cookbooks inspired by the film, and branded culinary tools reflect the story's central theme. Unlike franchises built around superheroes or fantasy battles, Ratatouille's merchandise emphasizes creativity and food culture. This alignment strengthens brand consistency and underscores the film's distinctive niche within Disney's portfolio. The cultural revival of Ratatouille in 2020 marked an unexpected chapter in its legacy. During a period when live theater and film production were limited, users on social media platforms collaborated to imagine a Ratatouille musical. This grassroots phenomenon grew rapidly, with participants contributing original songs, choreography ideas, and costume designs. Eventually, a streamed benefit performance featured professional Broadway actors interpreting the fan-created concept. This event highlighted the film's adaptability and its resonance with new generations. It also demonstrated how digital communities can transform a beloved movie into collaborative performance art. Within academic and culinary circles, Ratatouille has been referenced as a case study in storytelling about food. Culinary schools and educators sometimes use clips from the film to discuss presentation, creativity, and the emotional dimension of cuisine. Chefs have expressed admiration for the way the movie portrays the discipline and artistry of professional kitchens. While stylized for animation, the depiction of teamwork and technique resonates with real-world practitioners. Although no official theatrical sequel has been produced, discussions about potential continuation periodically emerge among fans. Pixar's creative leadership has historically favored original storytelling, and Ratatouille's narrative concludes with satisfying closure. This self-contained ending may contribute to its enduring strength. Rather than diluting its impact through unnecessary continuation, the film remains intact as a complete artistic statement. Its legacy thrives through reinterpretation and appreciation rather than expansion through multiple installments. Ratatouille also holds significance within Pixar's internal history. Directed by Brad Bird, the film reinforced the studio's willingness to tackle unconventional premises. Its success encouraged continued experimentation in subsequent projects. The technical advancements achieved during its production, particularly in food rendering and fur simulation, influenced later animated features. In this way, its legacy extends beyond narrative into technological evolution. Over time, Ratatouille has become a symbol of creative courage within popular culture. References to the film appear in television shows, online memes, and culinary programming. Anton Ego's monologue about criticism is frequently quoted in discussions about art and evaluation. These references contribute to the film's ongoing visibility even without new cinematic releases. The absence of a direct sequel has not diminished audience attachment. In some ways, it has preserved the film's purity. Viewers revisit it as a standalone masterpiece rather than as one chapter in a sprawling franchise. Its integration into theme parks ensures physical immersion, while streaming platforms guarantee accessibility to younger audiences discovering it for the first time. In the broader landscape of animated cinema, Ratatouille represents a model of sustainable legacy. It demonstrates that a film can achieve franchise-level cultural presence without extensive serialization. Through attractions, short films, merchandise, digital revivals, and academic discussion, the story of Remy continues to inspire. Its legacy rests not on repetition but on resonance, proving that a carefully crafted narrative can expand organically across mediums and generations. As years pass, Ratatouille's place within animation history appears increasingly secure. It stands not merely as a successful film but as an enduring emblem of artistic aspiration. Its franchise expansion may be subtle compared to larger cinematic universes, yet its influence is unmistakable. Through quiet persistence and cultural reinvention, Ratatouille has transformed from a single animated feature into a lasting symbol of creativity and possibility. Ratatouille has maintained a powerful emotional connection with audiences across different age groups since its release in 2007 by Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney Pictures. While its premise is whimsical, its emotional core is grounded in universal experiences. Feeling different, striving for recognition, confronting doubt, and longing to create something meaningful. The film's ability to resonate with children, teenagers, and adults in distinct yet overlapping ways explains its enduring relevance and deep generational impact. For children, Ratatouille often functions first as an adventure story. Remy's small size and secret double life create immediate intrigue. The idea of a rat controlling a human by pulling his hair is visually funny and imaginative, tapping into a child's sense of playful absurdity. Kitchen chases, narrow escapes, and physical comedy offer excitement and suspense. Yet beneath the humor, many young viewers identify strongly with Remy's feeling of being misunderstood. Children frequently experience moments where their interests or talents set them apart from peers or even family. Remy's frustration with being dismissed by his colony mirrors a child's desire to be seen and heard. Remy's aspiration to cook resonates particularly with children who discover passions early in life. Whether that passion is drawing, music, sports, or academics, the film validates the impulse to pursue something wholeheartedly. The repeated idea that anyone can cook is interpreted by younger viewers as encouragement. It suggests that talent is not limited by background or circumstance. In classrooms and homes, the film has often served as a conversation starter about trying new activities and believing in oneself. Teenagers and young adults tend to connect with Ratatouille on a different emotional level. As individuals navigate questions of identity and independence, Remy's journey becomes symbolic of stepping beyond inherited expectations. The tension between Remy and his father Django reflects generational conflict, something many adolescents recognize. The struggle to reconcile family loyalty with personal ambition is portrayed with empathy rather than hostility. This nuance allows older viewers to see themselves in Remy's internal debate. The partnership between Remy and Linguini also holds particular resonance for young adults entering professional environments. Linguini's insecurity and fear of failure echo common anxieties about competence and belonging. His gradual growth through collaboration suggests that success often requires vulnerability and trust. Viewers in transitional life stages, such as college or early career years, frequently interpret the film as a metaphor for imposter syndrome and the search for confidence. Adults, especially parents and working professionals, often experience Ratatouille as a meditation on ambition and criticism. Anton Ego's arc speaks directly to mature audiences who have encountered both harsh evaluation and creative self-doubt. His transformation during the tasting scene evokes nostalgia and reminds viewers of simpler times when passion outweighed cynicism. Many adults cite Ego's final monologue as one of the most moving moments in animated cinema. It articulates the vulnerability inherent in creation and the responsibility of critics to recognize genuine effort. Parents watching the film with children may find themselves reflecting on Django's perspective as well. His protective instincts and skepticism toward human environments mirror parental fears about risk and safety. Over time, as Django witnesses Remy's determination, his gradual acceptance models a form of supportive parenting that balances caution with trust. This dual identification, with both Remy and Django, deepens the emotional experience for adult viewers. The film's generational resonance has been amplified through streaming platforms, allowing new audiences to discover it years after its theatrical release. Children who first watched Ratatouille in the late 2000s have grown into adults who revisit it with nostalgia. Many express surprise at how differently the film feels upon rewatching. What once seemed like a light-hearted cartoon reveals layers of meaning about artistry, integrity, and resilience. This evolving interpretation demonstrates the film's capacity to mature alongside its audience. Fan communities have played a significant role in sustaining emotional attachment. Online discussions frequently analyze themes, quote dialogue, and share artwork inspired by Remy and the Parisian setting. Cosplay enthusiasts have recreated chef uniforms and rat-inspired costumes at conventions. Home cooks have posted videos attempting to replicate the signature Ratatouille dish, transforming cinematic imagery into lived experience. These creative responses illustrate how the film inspires participation rather than passive consumption. The 2020 social media-driven musical adaptation phenomenon further strengthened generational connection. Young creators collaborated digitally to imagine songs and stage concepts, while established performers joined to celebrate the film. This cross-generational interaction highlighted how Ratatouille bridges age groups through shared affection. It became a collective creative outlet during a time of global uncertainty, reinforcing its message that artistry can emerge from unexpected places. Emotionally, Ratatouille resonates because it avoids simplistic triumph. Remy's success is not defined by fame or wealth but by the opportunity to cook authentically. The closing image of a modest bistro thriving under unconventional leadership speaks to viewers who understand that fulfillment often lies in small, meaningful spaces rather than grand recognition. This understated resolution leaves audiences with warmth rather than spectacle. Children may leave the film inspired to try new recipes. Teenagers may feel emboldened to pursue unconventional goals. Adults may reconsider how they judge creativity in themselves and others. Across generations, the emotional connection remains rooted in the same core truth. Passion, when nurtured with courage and collaboration, has the power to transform both individuals and communities. Ratatouille's generational resonance lies in its sincerity. It does not talk down to younger viewers nor alienate adults with excessive irony. Instead, it invites everyone to reflect on their own hunger for expression. As years pass, the film continues to find new audiences who see themselves in Remy's journey. This enduring emotional bond ensures that Ratatouille remains not only a beloved animated feature, but also a shared cultural memory spanning generations. Ratatouille presents a rich tapestry of characters whose development drives the story's emotional and thematic impact. Central to the film is Remy, a rat with an extraordinary sense of taste and smell, whose journey embodies the archetype of the unlikely hero. Unlike traditional protagonists, Remy's challenges are not primarily external threats but internal conflicts. Reconciling his passion with societal expectations, balancing loyalty to family with the pursuit of personal fulfillment, and navigating moral dilemmas that arise from secrecy and deception. His character arc follows a classical hero's journey while adapting archetypal patterns to a modern, whimsical context. From the outset, Remy is shown as gifted yet marginalized. His intelligence and refined palate set him apart from his colony, whose members prioritize survival over artistic expression. This establishes the archetypal motif of the outsider, a common figure in myth and fairy tales. Remy's desire to create, despite ridicule and danger, reflects the universal narrative of talent emerging from unexpected circumstances. Children and adults alike relate to his sense of alienation and aspiration, making his victories emotionally satisfying. His transformation is subtle. Through experiences in both failure and collaboration, Remy learns to balance personal ambition with empathy and responsibility toward others. Linguini, Remy's human counterpart, represents another archetype, the innocent or naive hero who relies on guidance to unlock latent potential. Linguini's clumsiness and inexperience make him an ideal partner for Remy, allowing the rat's expertise to manifest. Throughout the film, Linguini grows from a timid, uncertain young man into a more confident individual capable of leadership, making decisions that demonstrate trust, integrity, and self-awareness. His development complements Remy's, illustrating how interdependence and mentorship shape character growth. This partnership reframes the traditional mentor-student archetype. Here, the mentor is smaller, literally unseen, and operates in the background, challenging conventional storytelling norms. Colette, the skilled and assertive female chef, embodies the archetype of the guardian or guide. Initially skeptical of Linguini's abilities, she represents professionalism, discipline, and perseverance. Through her interactions with Linguini and Remy, Colette's character softens without losing strength, revealing empathy and recognition for talent, regardless of social norms or hierarchy. Her arc demonstrates a subtle evolution. She shifts from guarded observer to collaborator and supporter, reinforcing the theme that recognition and respect are earned through authenticity and competence rather than status alone. Anton Ego, the formidable food critic, functions as a dual archetype, antagonist and catalyst. His imposing presence challenges the protagonists and establishes stakes, yet his arc subverts typical villainy. Ego is not inherently evil. His role as a critic reflects societal authority and judgment. His transformation during the climactic tasting scene positions him as a redeemed archetype. His rigid worldview is softened by experience and reflection. Ego's change underscores a central moral. Openness to new perspectives and acknowledgement of hidden talent are essential to personal growth and appreciation of art. Secondary characters provide additional depth and archetypal balance. Emile, Remy's brother, embodies the archetype of the loyal companion. Initially indulgent and less ambitious, Emile demonstrates the tension between comfort and courage, ultimately supporting Remy's choices despite personal hesitation. His humor and warmth enhance the narrative, providing levity while reinforcing themes of family loyalty. Django, Remy's father, represents parental archetype and protective authority, concerned for survival yet gradually accepting of his son's difference. His journey mirrors the archetypal parent-child reconciliation, highlighting intergenerational negotiation of values and identity. The rats as a collective entity serve as a chorus archetype reminiscent of classical storytelling. They provide commentary, humor, and social contrast to Remy's individuality. Their interactions highlight the tension between conformity and creativity, emphasizing the cost of standing apart. In this way, the film uses archetypal structures to explore complex social dynamics without sacrificing accessibility for younger viewers. Humor is often tied to archetypal exaggeration. Linguini's awkwardness, the chaos of the colony, and kitchen mishaps serve as comic relief while reinforcing character traits. These moments allow audiences to engage with the story emotionally, ensuring that serious themes such as ambition, identity, and artistic expression are balanced with levity. Humor also reinforces empathy, making characters more relatable and humanized despite the anthropomorphic rat premise. Remy's evolution intersects with ethical and emotional growth. He faces moral decisions, whether to manipulate linguini, when to reveal his presence, and how to respond to familial and societal expectations. These conflicts position him as a fully realized hero archetype whose victory is measured by integrity rather than external validation. His journey reflects classical heroic trials: challenge, temptation, failure, and eventual triumph, adapted for a modern audience with attention to nuance and subtlety. The interplay between archetypes in Ratatouille demonstrates a sophisticated approach to character development in animated cinema. The film balances exaggerated traits with realistic emotional stakes. Heroes are vulnerable, mentors are unconventional, antagonists are redeemable, and companions provide both support and comic relief. This careful construction allows audiences of all ages to identify with one or more characters, deepening emotional engagement. In conclusion, Ratatouille's character development achieves richness through archetypal resonance while subverting expectations. Remy's journey as the unlikely hero, Linguini's growth from naive apprentice, Colette's transformation as guardian and collaborator, and Anton Ego's redemption exemplify how animated storytelling can explore complexity without sacrificing accessibility. The nuanced interactions between these archetypes create a world in which identity, courage, collaboration, and integrity are central, ensuring that audiences connect emotionally with the characters across generations and experiences. Ratatouille excels not only through its narrative and emotional resonance, but also through meticulous attention to costume, character design, and environmental world-building. Every element, from the smallest article of clothing to the intricacies of Parisian streets, is designed to communicate personality, social role, and cultural context. These visual decisions are integral to storytelling, allowing audiences to understand characters and their environments intuitively without relying solely on dialogue or exposition. Costume and character attire function as visual shorthand for personality and occupation. Linguini's chef outfit, initially oversized and slightly disheveled, underscores his awkwardness and inexperience. As he gains confidence and skill through collaboration with Remy, his posture straightens, and his uniform is presented with more order, reflecting his personal growth. Colette's uniform is distinct. A tailored chef's jacket, precise apron, and practical footwear communicate professionalism, discipline, and authority. These sartorial choices reinforce her role as a mentor figure and a respected presence within the kitchen hierarchy. Anton Ego's wardrobe is equally deliberate. His long, dark overcoat, crisp shirts, and severe lines communicate authority, formality, and critical exactitude. The design emphasizes his intimidating presence and social status, setting him visually apart from the warmth and chaos of the kitchen. Subtle details, such as his consistently neat gloves and polished shoes, reinforce his obsession with control and meticulousness, while the simplicity of his attire draws attention to facial expressions during key emotional beats. The rat's design, including Remy, is equally considered. While anthropomorphized to allow expressive facial features and dexterous limbs, their fur, whiskers, and small movements are rendered with a sense of tactile realism. Remy's sleek fur, bright eyes, and agile body communicate intelligence and sensitivity. Emile, by contrast, is slightly rounder, with softer features and a more relaxed posture, visually reflecting his humorous, easygoing personality. Even within a colony of similar creatures, subtle design distinctions help audiences immediately recognize individual traits, motivations, and relationships. Costume is minimal, relying instead on body language, posture, and fur characteristics to convey identity. World-building in Ratatouille achieves a remarkable balance between realism and stylization. Paris itself is both romanticized and functional. Rooftops are slightly curved, streets simplified, and building details emphasized for visual clarity. These choices create a visually coherent world where audiences can follow action easily, even in complex chase or kitchen sequences. The cityscape conveys charm and intimacy, reinforcing the film's thematic celebration of aspiration and artistry. Landmarks such as the Seine, quaint cafes, and narrow alleyways anchor the narrative in recognizable geography, while retaining a stylized storybook quality. Interiors, particularly the kitchens and dining areas, are designed to reflect social hierarchy and workflow. Gusteau's kitchen is meticulously organized, with hanging utensils, polished countertops, and a logical arrangement of cooking stations. This realism grounds the action and allows comedic and dramatic beats to unfold naturally within the space. Diners' areas, by contrast, feature elegant table settings, subdued lighting, and warm tones, signaling refinement and sophistication. The contrast between kitchen and dining room visually reinforces the divide between creation and presentation, labor and appreciation. Color palettes serve both practical and symbolic purposes. Warm, golden tones dominate dining spaces, evoking comfort, hospitality, and human aspiration. Cooler, muted hues define the sewers and initial rat colony environments, highlighting danger, marginalization, and the unknown. Kitchens combine neutral tones with bursts of vibrant color from ingredients, visually signaling creativity and opportunity. These deliberate choices enhance emotional storytelling by guiding audience perception of mood, focus, and narrative significance. Lighting is critical to world building. Animators employed advanced lighting techniques to simulate natural and artificial sources. Daylight streaming through Parisian windows bathes characters and settings in soft warmth, while harsh fluorescent kitchen lighting emphasizes precision and urgency. Shadows are used to create depth, tension, and spatial clarity, particularly during chase sequences or moments of secrecy. The combination of light and color reinforces narrative pacing, directing attention and heightening emotional resonance. Scale and perspective contribute to immersive storytelling. Remy's small size is emphasized through carefully constructed environments. Oversized utensils, cabinets, and furniture create a sense of danger and novelty from his perspective. Animators employ low-angle shots and close-ups to convey the enormity of human spaces relative to the rat protagonist, reinforcing themes of ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. Audiences experience the world from multiple perspectives, enhancing engagement and empathy. Cultural authenticity is reinforced through design details. Food preparation, tableware, and culinary practices reflect French tradition, informed by consultation with chef Thomas Keller. Subtle inclusions, such as croissants on display, market stalls, and wine bottles, convey a living cultural environment without overloading exposition. These touches deepen immersion, making Paris feel inhabited, authentic, and narratively meaningful. Overall, costume, character design, and world-building in Ratatouille work synergistically. Each element, clothing, posture, for texture, environment, and spatial composition, communicates story, personality, and theme without relying solely on dialogue. Audiences intuitively absorb social hierarchies, emotional stakes, and cultural context through these visual cues. The film demonstrates how careful attention to design enriches storytelling, allowing viewers to connect emotionally with characters and their world. By integrating thoughtful costume design, expressive character modeling, and detailed, believable environments, Ratatouille crafts a fully realized universe where fantasy and realism coexist. The interplay of these elements reinforces narrative, theme, and emotion, ensuring that audiences are not merely observers but participants in Remy's journey through Paris. Every detail contributes to a coherent, immersive experience that deepens understanding of characters and their relationships while reinforcing the central themes of creativity, ambition, and authenticity. Ratatouille demonstrates a sophisticated approach to dialogue, humor, and screenplay structure, balancing clever writing with visual storytelling to appeal to audiences of all ages. The film's screenplay, crafted under the direction of Brad Bird with contributions from Janet Healy and others on the creative team, integrates character, plot, and theme seamlessly, ensuring that every line serves multiple purposes, revealing personality, advancing narrative, and reinforcing the film's underlying messages. Dialogue in Ratatouille is carefully calibrated to reflect character identity and development. Remy's internal monologues, delivered through voiceover, provide insight into his thought processes, aspirations, and frustrations. Unlike conventional exposition, Remy's narration is lyrical yet practical, blending humor, reflection, and sensory description. Through this device, viewers gain intimate access to his unique perspective, particularly his fascination with taste and smell. His narration also establishes the film's tonal balance, bridging whimsical fantasy with emotionally grounded reflection. Linguini's dialogue conveys vulnerability and insecurity. Early in the film, his stammering and hesitance reveal self-doubt, creating immediate empathy. His awkward phrasing and literal interpretation of Remy's guidance highlight the comedic interplay between rat and human. As his character grows, his speech becomes more confident and measured, mirroring his personal and professional development. This evolution reinforces the principle that dialogue should reflect not only current states of mind but also character arcs over time. Colette's dialogue is direct and precise, reinforcing her role as a mentor and authority figure. She uses brevity and clarity to communicate instruction, often punctuated by sharp corrections and witty retorts. Her lines balance humor with professionalism, serving as both guidance for Linguini and commentary on kitchen culture. Through Colette, the screenplay conveys themes of discipline, respect, and recognition of talent. Anton Ego's dialogue exemplifies the use of contrast to establish character. Initially, his speech is formal, deliberate, and sometimes cutting, reflecting his critical authority. His language employs sophisticated vocabulary, layered with irony and judgment, creating tension and anticipation whenever he enters a scene. The stark shift in his dialogue during the climactic tasting scene, softened, reflective, and nostalgic, reinforces emotional transformation. This contrast demonstrates how dialogue can signal internal change without overt exposition. Humor in Ratatouille operates on multiple levels, appealing to children and adults simultaneously. Visual gags, such as the hair-pulling mechanism through which Remy controls Linguini, provide immediate, slapstick comedy accessible to younger audiences. Physical mishaps, rats navigating kitchen hazards, and oversized utensils enhance visual humor. At the same time, subtle wordplay, irony, and cultural references reward adult viewers. This layered comedic approach ensures engagement across age groups without alienating any portion of the audience. Recurring phrases and running jokes contribute to cohesion and character familiarity. Remy's expressions of awe or dissatisfaction when tasting ingredients, Colette's sharp reprimands, and the rat's humorous chatter create rhythm and continuity. These repetitions establish a sense of predictability that allows audiences to anticipate and delight in comedic beats. The screenplay carefully spaces these moments to punctuate narrative tension and emotional developments, maintaining pacing and balance. Screenplay structure in Ratatouille follows a classical arc while integrating unique elements of animated storytelling. The film opens with an exposition that efficiently introduces characters, environment, and thematic stakes. The opening montage demonstrates Remy's abilities, personality, and family dynamic, establishing both conflict and aspiration. Rising action is marked by Remy's separation from his colony, his encounter with Linguini, and their collaborative exploration of the kitchen. Challenges escalate naturally, combining external pressures, such as Chef Skinner's suspicion and Ego's looming critique, with internal conflicts involving identity, trust, and ambition. Comedic sequences are interwoven with dramatic tension, ensuring that humor does not undermine stakes. Chase sequences, near discoveries, and kitchen mishaps serve as both entertainment and plot advancement. These moments are carefully timed to provide relief between emotionally heavier scenes, such as Remy's moral dilemmas or Ego's critical evaluation. The screenplay balances levity and depth without abrupt tonal shifts, demonstrating meticulous pacing. Exposition is often handled visually or musically rather than through dialogue alone. Cooking sequences communicate mastery, creativity, and emotion through movement, composition, and visual cues. Audience understanding is reinforced by the musical score, enhancing tension or highlighting discovery. This economy of dialogue allows the film to show rather than tell, a technique particularly effective in animation where visual storytelling can be as expressive as verbal communication. The climactic structure emphasizes emotional resonance over spectacle. The revelation of Remy's identity, the chaos of the kitchen, and Anton Ego's tasting sequence are orchestrated to maximize tension and catharsis. Dialogue is minimal during key moments, allowing actions, facial expressions, and sound design to convey stakes. This interplay of speech and silence exemplifies mature screenwriting, particularly in animation where physicality can complement verbal storytelling. Ratatouille also demonstrates an awareness of subtext. Much of the dialogue contains layered meaning, simultaneously addressing plot, character, and thematic elements. Exchanges between Linguini and Colette illustrate professional dynamics, personal growth, and romantic tension, all without extended exposition. Similarly, interactions between Remy and his family communicate loyalty, frustration, and love, enriching character motivation. The screenplay's layered dialogue rewards multiple viewings, as audiences notice additional nuance each time. In summary, Ratatouille's dialogue, humor, and screenplay structure combine to create a seamless, emotionally resonant narrative. Characters speak in ways that reflect personality, development, and social role, while humor operates across physical, verbal, and situational levels. The screenplay's pacing, integration of visual exposition, and balance of comedy and drama make the story accessible to children while providing depth for adult viewers. Through these elements, Ratatouille demonstrates how careful writing in animated cinema can convey complexity, sustain engagement, and create lasting emotional connection. Ratatouille's marketing and branding strategy was carefully designed to position the film as both a family-friendly animated feature and a culturally sophisticated cinematic experience. Released in 2007 by Pixar Animation Studios and Walt Disney Pictures, the film faced the challenge of promoting a story centered on a rat, a creature traditionally associated with filth and fear, as a sympathetic and inspiring protagonist. The marketing campaign skillfully reframed this potential liability as a unique selling point, emphasizing creativity, aspiration, and the whimsical charm of a rat pursuing culinary excellence. Trailers and teaser campaigns highlighted both humor and artistry. Early trailers showcased Remy navigating kitchens and manipulating linguini in clever, visually engaging sequences. These clips emphasized action and comedic timing to attract younger audiences, while underscoring the imaginative premise that appealed to adults. The juxtaposition of chaos in the kitchen with precise, mouth-watering food visuals positioned the film as a sophisticated yet accessible story. Marketing materials often included signature sequences, such as Remy atop a giant pile of ingredients or orchestrating a dish, emphasizing creativity as a central theme. Music played a role in marketing reach as well. Le Festin, the film's theme song performed by Camille, featured prominently in trailers and promotional clips. Its gentle, inspiring melody conveyed the aspirational and heartfelt tone of the story. International adaptations of promotional materials incorporated localized versions of the song, helping establish emotional resonance with audiences outside France. The musical branding reinforced the film's identity as more than a conventional animated comedy, highlighting artistry and refinement. Merchandise was another critical avenue for marketing and brand extension. Disney created plush figures, figurines, and kitchen-themed toys, targeting both children and adult collectors. Cookbooks inspired by the film's culinary imagery capitalized on audiences' desire to translate the story's food artistry into tangible experiences. Products emphasized creativity, craftsmanship, and the joy of cooking, reinforcing thematic consistency across marketing channels. Partnerships with home retailers and specialty stores extended visibility, positioning Ratatouille as a lifestyle brand rather than merely a movie. Fast food and commercial tie-ins also contributed to global reach. Limited edition toys and promotional materials at major chains increased exposure to children who might otherwise be less aware of cinematic releases. These partnerships were executed with an emphasis on tastefulness and creativity, aligning with the film's themes rather than undermining its artistic credibility. The campaigns reinforced brand recognition, while connecting the story's culinary focus to tangible, everyday experiences for audiences. Digital marketing played a growing role, particularly in international markets. Online trailers, sneak peeks, and interactive features allowed audiences to engage with the film before release. Disney leveraged websites and early social media platforms to share games, quizzes, and cooking-related activities themed around Remy and the Parisian kitchen environment. These initiatives extended engagement beyond traditional advertising, allowing children and families to explore the story world interactively. The strategy enhanced anticipation while establishing emotional investment prior to theatrical release. Global promotion accounted for cultural adaptation. International campaigns often highlighted the Parisian setting, culinary artistry, and humor, while ensuring that promotional content resonated with local audiences. The film's themes of creativity, perseverance, and self-expression translated well across cultures, allowing marketing teams to emphasize universal values. Posters, television spots, and print materials highlighted key visual elements such as Remy balancing on utensils or the colorful presentation of gourmet dishes, making the narrative instantly recognizable and appealing worldwide. Soundtrack releases extended marketing beyond film distribution. The original score and songs were sold on CD and digital platforms, allowing audiences to revisit the film's emotional and sensory world. Soundtrack promotions often included interviews with composer Michael Giacchino and behind-the-scenes insights, creating a sense of intimacy and insider access. This strategy reinforced the perception of Ratatouille as a carefully crafted artistic endeavor, appealing to audiences who value both story and sensory experience. Cross-promotions and themed events further reinforced global reach. Promotional screenings, cooking competitions inspired by the film, and interactive exhibits in museums or culinary schools capitalized on the film's core theme of creativity. Audiences were encouraged to engage physically and imaginatively with the story, strengthening brand loyalty and long-term recognition. These efforts extended the film's presence beyond the screen, turning it into a cultural touchpoint. Theme park integration also played a marketing role. Ratatouille the Adventure, a trackless ride that immerses guests in the story from Remy's perspective, was promoted as a destination experience in Paris and later at Walt Disney World Resort. Advertisements for the attraction emphasized immersive storytelling, encouraging fans to experience the film's environment firsthand. This not only reinforced brand identity but also introduced new audiences to the characters and narrative, creating multi-generational engagement. Overall, the marketing and branding of Ratatouille succeeded by combining humor, artistry, and accessibility. Campaigns emphasized the imaginative premise, sophisticated culinary visuals, and universal themes of creativity and ambition. Merchandise, tie-ins, digital engagement, music, and theme park experiences created a coherent ecosystem, ensuring that the film's presence extended beyond the theatrical release. By targeting both children and adults, domestic and international audiences, the marketing strategy solidified Ratatouille as a culturally significant property with lasting resonance. Through careful visual branding, strategic partnerships, and multi-platform engagement, Ratatouille achieved global reach while maintaining artistic integrity. It demonstrated that animated films can be promoted not only as entertainment but as immersive experiences that inspire creativity, foster emotional connection, and engage audiences across multiple generations and markets. The film's marketing success contributed to its enduring cultural relevance and ensured that Remy's story would continue to resonate well beyond its initial release. Ratatouille occupies a distinctive position within the history of animated cinema, reflecting both the evolution of storytelling techniques and the maturation of thematic exploration in the medium. When compared to earlier animated classics, it illustrates a shift toward complex narratives, sophisticated character development, and technical mastery, while retaining accessibility for children. Unlike traditional fairy tale adaptations, which often rely on archetypal morality and fantastical plot devices, Ratatouille blends realism, cultural specificity, and emotional subtlety, creating a nuanced cinematic experience that resonates with a broad demographic. Earlier Pixar films, such as Toy Story or Finding Nemo, established the studio's reputation for emotional storytelling and technological innovation. Ratatouille builds on this foundation but diverges in tone and narrative focus. Toy Story, for instance, emphasizes friendship, loyalty, and identity through anthropomorphized toys in a playful, episodic structure. Finding Nemo revolves around adventure, parental love, and perseverance across vast, visually rich underwater landscapes. Ratatouille, by contrast, situates its story in a confined, highly detailed, real-world environment, Paris and its professional kitchens, focusing on the artistry of cooking, personal ambition, and the tension between societal expectation and individual passion. The shift from broad adventure to intimate, culturally grounded storytelling marks a maturation in Pixar's approach to audience engagement. When analyzed alongside Disney's fairy tale adaptations, Ratatouille presents further contrasts. Classics like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, or Cinderella are defined by sweeping romantic arcs, magical intervention, and clear-cut morality. In Ratatouille, magic is replaced by skill, intuition, and creativity, and the central protagonist is a rat, an unconventional choice that challenges traditional narrative logic. Instead of relying on fantastical transformation or external rescue, Remy achieves success through resourcefulness, collaboration, and integrity. This emphasis on humanistic values rather than literal magic reflects a shift in animation toward realism infused with whimsy. The film's tone also differentiates it from many contemporary animated features. While other films often employ rapid-fire jokes, pop culture references, and high-energy spectacle, Ratatouille balances humor with restraint and elegance. Comedic elements, Linguini's physical awkwardness, the rat's antics, are integrated into the story rather than dominating it. This careful calibration allows the narrative to maintain emotional weight while still appealing to children. The humor works on multiple levels, ensuring that adult audiences appreciate wit and subtle irony alongside visual comedy. The tonal sophistication exemplifies the evolution of animated storytelling beyond formulaic entertainment. Technologically, Ratatouille reflects significant advancement within computer-generated animation. The rendering of food, textures, fur, and reflective surfaces surpasses prior standards, creating tactile realism previously unattainable. Scenes depicting steaming sauces, vibrant vegetables, and complex kitchen surfaces demonstrate a level of sensory detail that deepens audience immersion. When compared to films like Monsters, Inc. or The Incredibles, which prioritized action and stylized character design, Ratatouille demonstrates a deliberate shift toward realism in materials and environmental detail. This technological refinement supports narrative themes by making the world believable and emotionally engaging. Character representation in Ratatouille also demonstrates evolution within the medium. Unlike many animated films that rely on broad caricature or simplified archetypes, Ratatouille presents characters with nuanced motivations, internal conflict, and growth over time. Remy embodies both the underdog archetype and a complex moral agent navigating ethical dilemmas. Linguini's development from clumsy novice to capable collaborator mirrors Remy's growth, illustrating interdependent character arcs. Colette, Anton Ego, and secondary characters exhibit multidimensional personalities that evolve in response to narrative events, a contrast to static figures common in earlier animated works. Musical approach offers additional distinction. While Disney musicals of the 1980s and 1990s, such as Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King, integrated songs as primary drivers of character expression and plot, Ratatouille employs music more subtly. Michael Giacchino's score provides thematic reinforcement and emotional layering without dominating the narrative. Le Festin functions as an emotional touchstone rather than a diegetic performance, contrasting with traditional musical numbers that interrupt storytelling. This integration of music demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of how sound can complement, rather than compete with visual storytelling. Narratively, Ratatouille exemplifies the evolution of pacing and plot complexity in animated cinema. Earlier animated features often rely on linear sequences of conflict and resolution, punctuated by musical numbers or set-piece action scenes. Ratatouille integrates multiple storylines: Remy's creative journey, Linguini's personal growth, Colette's mentorship, and Anton Ego's redemption, into a cohesive structure where emotional stakes and character development are prioritized over spectacle. Transitions between comedy, drama, and introspection are seamless, illustrating a more cinematic approach to animation, one that mirrors techniques used in live-action storytelling. Theme-wise, Ratatouille departs from traditional morality tales. Rather than simply rewarding virtue or punishing vice, the film explores authenticity, ambition, and the courage to defy convention. Its focus on personal growth, creativity, and the validation of unconventional talent reflects contemporary values, distinguishing it from older films where outcomes are dictated by predetermined moral frameworks. Audiences are encouraged to reflect on identity, aspiration, and artistic integrity, positioning the film as both entertaining and intellectually stimulating. In conclusion, Ratatouille exemplifies the evolution of animated cinema through its integration of technical innovation, nuanced character development, culturally grounded settings, and sophisticated narrative and thematic structures. Compared to earlier Pixar works, classic Disney fairy tales, and other animated features of the 1990s and 2000s, it demonstrates a shift toward realism, emotional depth, and layered storytelling. The film balances accessibility for children with resonance for adult audiences, reflecting animation's capacity to function as serious cinematic art. By blending humor, artistry, and emotional intelligence, Ratatouille not only honors the tradition of animated storytelling but also pushes its boundaries, establishing a benchmark for narrative sophistication, visual excellence, and cross-generational appeal in the medium.